Hi. Welcome back to my channel, if anyone watches these. Tonight I will be ranting about, not even ranting, I'll just be rambling and mumbling and going off script. Not that I have a script. I'm just sitting in my bed. My TV is off. So that's nice. So, don't have a script. I'm just going with whatever the hell I have to say. Anyway, so off memory, we will be talking about Jujutsu Kaisen 0. As I believe in the last video, I said I'd be doing this in order, or to the best order that I could imagine. Alright, Jujutsu Kaisen 0. So we first get introduced to a character named Yuta Akatsu. Me personally, he's my favorite character in the entire series. I simply just like him. Anyway, so as we're introduced to this character, he is being bullied, right? So as he's being bullied, he isn't like doing all too much, as they're like threatening to actually murder him, which is like, Jesus Christ, man, calm it down a bit. So anyway, as old mate with the fat lips, if I'm remembering right, as he's rambling on about murdering this guy on school premises, no less, we eventually hear another voice. I can't remember the exact details, but anyway, they get shoved into a locker. And then from what we can assume off the page or from the anime, that they are dead. But no, we later get confirmed that they were only mortally wounded. So that's just delightful. You go, Yuta and Rika. Anyway, so the voice that we heard was from his childhood girlfriend who got hit by a car, but we'll get to that later. So, sorcerers are sent to Yuta's location to quote-unquote deal with him. I think that they were semi-grade 1 and grade 1, if I'm remembering right. But, they pretty much got thrashed and ragdolled by Rika because she was special grade? Yeah, special grade. So, after that, nobody could defeat Yuta, for the sole exception of Satoru Gojo, of course, because he is the main character. Now, anyway, as this goes on, we get introduced to, well, of course, Satoru Gojo, and Yuta is sitting in a room where he is told he has been ordered to a secret execution, or at least he was, but then Gojo wanted to keep him alive, but Yuta tries to kill himself with a knife, but Rika wouldn't allow it, turning that knife into a fucking bow tie. I'm sorry for the language. So anyway, as we learn more and more, we learn that Rika is something called a special grade curse, meaning she is one of the strongest. Well, one of the strongest in grading terms, at least. I'm not entirely sure how strong she is on her own. Anyway, so we learn Yuta, he's got bodyguard pretty much, and he is enrolled into Jujutsu Tech or Jujutsu High. I'm not entirely sure what it's called. So we get this long ass intro, and then he goes walking down the pathway, and we get introduced to Maki, Inumaki, and Panda. Panda is the GOAT. Anyway, so they're just talking about the new student, which is, of course, Yuta. So as they're talking about the reports of what happened. So, and this is where we get confirmed that he didn't kill the bullies. Well, Rika didn't kill the bullies. They were just mortally wounded. Maki thinks that he's going to act smug and high and mighty. If you've ever seen if you've ever seen Jujutsu Kaisen, or if you've ever read anything about it, you would know that Yuta is not like that at all. He's way too humble for that. Anyway, so Gojo talks to the three mentioned in the classroom about the newest student. He only lets the new student walk in, and he apparently releases this aura that is just unnerving. And they all notice it instantly as he steps into the room. So they all fling towards him at Mach speed. Not literally, otherwise I'm pretty sure they would have been ripped apart from the G-force. Anyway, so they launch towards him, Maki almost splitting his head open with a spear thing. I don't know what it's called. I think it's a Nagita, if I'm pronouncing that right, if I'm remembering it right. I cannot tell you. So anyway, as Maki does that, she exclaims, quote unquote, don't you know that you were cursed? This is a place to learn about curses, not for the cursed to hang around. So, as she says that, Gojo says you might want to back up so you don't get hurt. He also explains to Yuta what curses are, because he obviously had no idea. So Rika pretty much gives Maki, Panda, and Inumaki a smack on the wrist and says, no, bad. That's very bad. Anyway, so after that, Yuta and Maki are grouped together to go on a mission, so that way Yuta can learn just the fundamentals, the basics. Maki talks to Yuta about how if the weaker that the curses are, the more likely they are to group together. And she also points out, she inner monologues to herself that there are a lot more curses than what they are present, but they're just scared of Yuta, but not exactly Yuta, they're scared of Rika's presence, even though that Rika is technically a part of Yuta. Well, she does become a part of Yuta later, but we'll get into that later. So anyway, they end up getting swallowed by this big curse, and we learn that Maki doesn't quite exactly have the resistance to, she doesn't have the resistance to curses that Yuta does. And she passes out, and he puts on the ring, the promise ring that Rika had given to him when they were children, because she somehow had the funds, or maybe she just stole the damn thing, but she gave it to him, and it's apparently connected to her. So he puts the ring on and summons her, and she pretty much brutalizes the curse that ate Maki and Yuta. And I forgot to mention, they were sent on this mission to save or either report that they were dead, not them, but they were initially there to save or report the death of 2 children. They were able to save them. Yuta was carrying all of them on his back, quite literally. He was carrying them all on his back as he stumbled towards the veil as Rika was going ham. And apparently Suguru Gato, who is now an evil cult leader who is extremely mega racist, not really, but everyone says he is, but anyway, So he was apparently watching from a distance. I don't know how Rika didn't immediately clock him and immediately go for him. But, you know. Inconsistencies. Anyway. So, as this was happening, Gojo, I think, brings them back. Maybe. And Yuta begins training a lot harder. A lot harder. He goes on a mission with Inumaki, I think, about 3 months after that. And I think Inumaki is grade 2, grade 1, I can't remember. Maybe grade 3. I genuinely don't remember. So, Inumaki, he does his thing. We see a bunch of... So they go to this, like, mall kind of building. And what happens is... they see a bunch of curses grouped up together, and they're all, like, fish curses. So it's a school of fish. And Yuta is reminded of what Maki said when she said that the weaker the curse is, the more likely they are to group together. And then this is when we see Inumaki use cursed speech, which just means he can't really say. He has to be like a lot more careful with what he says. Otherwise, he could accidentally just blow someone up or rupture his vocal cords. So after that, this big monkey man looking thing, I don't know what it's called, but it says Zumba, so I'm gonna call it Zumba. So Zumba pops up, and summons like pillars of light. They kind of look like Jacob's ladder, but we'll get into that when it comes. Yeah, it looks like it's just pillars of light that can apparently deal damage because light can do that. Apparently, I don't know how, but it does. But yeah. So Inumaki gets his hand, like, I don't know what happened, but he said one word to Zumba, and that was get twist or get twisted. I can't remember, but it only twists Zumba's hand, and that ruptures his. Well, it doesn't rupture, but it injures his vocal cords, and he loses the throat medicine that he needed to say anything else again. So Yuta drags him away so that way they can recuperate and replan. And Yuta decides to try and distract it. So he runs down after Inumaki tried to do it alone. So he said, no, I'm not going to let you get hurt, or something like that. Anyway, so after that, the hell is that? What is that? I don't know. Anyway, so what happens is after that, Yuta runs down, slides around it or underneath it. I can't remember. Well, he doesn't do that initially. He slashes it, but it's only a light cut. It's not deep. However, what happens is after that, he slides underneath it or around it. I can't remember, but he grabs the throat medicine, yucks it up into the air. I mean, he yucks it, and this boy Inumaki, he can apparently jump 3 feet or some shit like that. Because I don't know, this man should be on the goddamn Lakers. What the hell? Anyway, after he does that, I think he says get crushed or get twisted again, but it apparently does more damage. So Zumba either gets crushed or gets twisted, can't remember, but he dies. And we see that Suguru Gato was the one that summoned it. Oh, I also forgot to mention. There was a veil around them, but once they defeated that school of fish, they couldn't they couldn't leave, so that meant that someone else put a veil up underneath the original veil. I mean, crazy work. Just so you can slime out some kids. Crazy. So what happens is we see Suguru Gato has Yuta's school ID. That's a bit weird. It's like really weird. So as we learn, Suguru wants Rika for his plans. We also learn that Suguru is a bit of a scumbag. He operates his cult to but he does it to obtain curses, since regular people don't exactly know what the hell's going on and they can't see the curses. So what happens is Suguru was watching them, and he is amazed but disappointed because he couldn't see Rika in action. So they return. Yuta keeps training, apparently. We find out that Yuta has a thing for girls with bigger chests, and Panda goes, "Maki, you have a shot," or something like that. I can't remember exactly. So it's hinted that Yuta and Maki have feelings for each other, and in modulo it's confirmed that they end up getting married and having grandchildren. Well, they have children that have grandchildren. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So after that, after I think it was a year, I believe, maybe, kinda. After that, he is a competent sorcerer on his own. You know what I mean? Damn, bro. Get it, I guess. He is able to imbue his katana effectively with cursed energy. And I don't know when the hell he was able to do this, but later on, he's able to use reverse curse technique. And I mean, what the hell, man? How did you do that? So what happened? So after that, they're walking down to the exit of Jujutsu High, Jujutsu Tech, and Suguru Gato pulls up on his big ass bird as Goho and Yaga, I think that's his name, Principal Yaga, talking about Suguru Gato to be exact, and they feel his cursed energy pull up, and Yuta felt it, but no one else did in that group. It was only Yuta, Yaga, and Gojo. So what happens is Gato pulls up and gives his big speech about how cursed this world is and how he wants Yuta to help him rebuild it, and then he calls Maki a monkey, and it's just what the hell, man? What the hell are you doing? You can't be talking to people like that. That's not nice. So as it goes on, Gojo, Yaga, fucking Mei, I hate that chick. Absolutely hate that character. Anyway, and Nanami, those are the only ones that really mattered to me anyway. Not Mei. She's just the only name that I could remember. I forgot the rest of them. They pull up and are ready to pretty much jump Gato and his crew. And Gato's like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And he goes on about how he's gonna start a war. And then as he's flying away, they're like, you wouldn't expect us to let you leave, right? And he's like, careful. your students are well within my range, and he summons like these big ass monsters. And then they start training even more. They start training even more, I think. Or maybe it's not like that and it's like off camera, but I think that it's confirmed that they trained more and more. They didn't send Maki and Yuta away for some reason. Maybe because, you know, they understood that Gato would have wanted Yuta there. But, I think it would have been smart to do that. Have Yuta on the battlefield. Just to have, like, extra support for everyone else. But nah, they didn't need it. John Kaisen was there. Anyway. So what happened was... at the 100 Demon Night Parade, I think it was... there was 2 areas that would be affected. Tokyo and Kyoto. And with that, we slightly, and I mean very slightly, quickly, introduced to some of the Kyoto students. We get to meet Todo, Mekamaru, I think Miwa, Momo, Mai, and Kamatoshi? I can't remember. The blind dude, he's not even blind, he just never opens his damn eyes. Anyway, that dude. So what happened was, Toto pretty much went on a rampage and killed, like, a bunch of curses and a special grade. And, you know, the rest happens. Gojo beats the brakes off this man, Miguel, who apparently was there. I don't know why he was there, but he was. And he beats the brakes off this man. He did not need to do all that. But, Miguel had this weapon called the Black Rope, and that could disrupt Gojo's technique. That was able... Well, we all know Gojo's technique. It's infinity. Anything that gets too close to him slows down to the point where it's almost not moving, but it's still very slowly inching. Or maybe if he has it on strong enough, things just stop moving entirely. I'm not entirely sure. So anyway, as that's going on, Gato rocks up to Jujutsu High, and Maki spots him instantly and is like, "Hey, you can't be here." Sack of shit, or I can't remember what she said, but she said something along those lines. Anyway, so Gato pretty much slimes this chick out. He doesn't, but he pretty much kills her. She would have died. Gojo notices that Gato isn't on the battlefield, so he sends Panda and Inumaki back. I don't know how the hell he does this. I don't know what kind of techniques this man has. But he teleports them into the goddamn sky above Jujutsu High. And they come plummeting down and they smash through all the walls trying to get to Gato. And I mean, Panda comes out swinging. This man swinging wildly and pretty much hitting nothing most of the time. But I think he gets like a couple solid hits in there. Especially with drumming beats in his gorilla form. And then Inumaki, I think he says plummet or get crushed. I can't remember. But Gato has one of the most unflattering frames here as he plummets or gets crushed. But then he just rocks up again and sends out more critters and creatures and curses. And then Yuta appears. And I mean, this man starts tweaking. He starts tweaking. The bad bitch, Maki, on the ground, brutalized. His besties, Panda and Inumaki, on the ground, brutalized. I think Panda's missing an arm or something. So he summons Rika, and he has a clash with Gato as Rika picks up Maki Panda in Inumaki. He clashes with him shortly before dashing up to a building and uses reverse curse technique. I don't know when the hell he learned this. I don't know who he learned it from, but this man is a prodigy. It is stated that this man is a prodigy, alright? But he pulled it out of his ass, let's be honest. Or maybe Gojo taught him, or maybe he went to Shoka and was like, hey, how do I use this? And then she said, Fueha, Fueha, or whatever the hell she said. So, after that, he heals them, and Rika gets jealous of Maki, and it's like, ooh, what's going on here? So, Rika's like, it's always you, as she's shaking this chick, who is unconscious, and was previously bleeding to death. So, Yusa says, treat her like you would a butterfly or a delicate flower, and then Rika's like, please don't be mad, please don't hate me, and he's like, I don't hate you, I'm not mad at you, but I do hate that guy, and he points to Suguru Gato, who is just staring up, he's just staring up at him. It's just like, god damn, man. As anyone asks, Yuta asks Gato, why did you stop attacking? And Gato's like, well, reverse curse technique is a very hard thing to pull off. It needs intense focus. And then they resume the fight. But Gato pulls out all his critters and these weird demonic baby children looking things. And I don't know where he did this because it never met the conditions, but he somehow pulled out Inumaki's cursed speech, but it's not actively on his mouth, it's in a megaphone. But he pulls that out of nowhere. I think during the time, maybe it was retconned, but I think because Rika saw it happen, she was able to copy it and then give it to Yuta. Because she is an extension of his curse technique. However, I don't know how that happens because later on it's said that Rika needs to eat something of importance or relevance to the curse technique itself that it's trying to copy. But yeah, we'll get onto that when it comes. So how long have I been recording? Damn, 27 minutes. Anyway, so as the critters, babies, and weird creatures pull up, Yuta puts the megaphone to his mouth and says, die. Now, I'm not sure how that didn't affect everyone else. Maybe it's because the cursed energy splits and scatters everywhere as he says it does. But it probably would have affected would have affected Maki, Inumaki, maybe, kinda, depends, and then Panda as well as Gato, but it didn't. Maybe it's because it was his first time using it and it's hard to control. However, we'll skip on from that. So, he dashes down and starts fighting Gato, who is using special cursed item, special grade, whatever the hell, playful cloud, and it's pretty much like a perfect weapon for the situation because you can use it defensively and offensively. You can also use it as like a grabbing weapon, but I don't think I've seen anyone use it like that apart from, later on. So Gato uses it as Yuta uses his katana, and as the fight goes on, Gato doesn't get all that many hits in, I don't think, if I'm remembering right. Maybe he does, but he ends up snapping Yuta's katana because Yuta was putting too much cursed energy into it, and it broke. So Yuta immediately hits this man with a black flash. and we see that they have another conversation about philosophy, and Yuta mistakes what Gato is talking about as wanting to be omnipotent or a god, and calls Gato a child. But Gato obviously gets offended by this because he does act like a child, but doesn't want to admit it. He says that he doesn't want any enlightenment. He just wants a perfect world. And I mean, like, I get that, man. This world kind of sucks. So they charge up their big, powerful moves. Yuta charges up his true love beam, and Gato charges up his maximum technique, Uzumaki. And they get ready to fire, and they fire in perfect synchronization, but we see that pure love beam absolutely shreds through Uzumaki. And then we see Yuta passes out from it, because I imagine that would have taken a lot of cursed energy. I don't know why I said a lot of so much. But that would have taken a lot of cursed energy. So he collapses, and Gato crawls away. So Gojo pulls up on Gato as he's missing an arm, and he kills him, pretty much. Yeah, he just slimes him. I don't know what he does with the body. I think he tries to bury it or something. Maybe it's kept in the morgue, but he kills Gato, and then I forgot to mention, Yuta makes a binding vow with Rika, and the binding vow meant that he would unleash 100% of Rika's limitations and all that for one big beam, because he didn't know how to use it properly, I don't think. And that binding vow meant that he would give up his life and join her in the afterlife. But as he wakes up and reunites with all of his friends that are alive, Rika's like, no, you just live your life, be happy, and don't join me too soon, before she breaks the curse, or he breaks the curse that he put on her. And because she didn't hold any resentment to him, the curse was broken. So she went up to heaven. I don't know how, because I think that she killed her parents and that, but she did. She went up to heaven, and then Yuta continues to be a sorcerer with a shell of Rika. It doesn't have Rika's soul anymore, so it's pretty much a Shikigami that is a part of his curse technique. It's pretty much just a storage unit for the curse techniques that he acquires, and it also stores cursed weaponry, as well as being a bottomless well of cursed energy. But that's not shown. It's shown that he ends up going to Africa with Miguel to go train. Anyway, that's all from me for tonight. I'm not sure if I did enough justice for the movie, especially with how detailed and complicated it can get with some stuff. But yeah, that was pretty much just me rambling and yapping about how I perceived it and all that, and my opinions on it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. If you can, please drop a like, please subscribe, it really helps out. And I hope to keep posting more videos. Sorry for the decent time between the last video and this one. I just ran out of motivation for a couple days. I think it was a couple days. Anyway, yeah, I'll try and be more consistent. Maybe 3 days per video. I don't really edit my videos, if you can't tell by the constant stuttering and all that. But yeah. It's just me being raw, me being myself, not putting on like an act for the camera, because I believe that my viewers should, know who I am, like know my personality as much as they can through the camera. Anyway, I will see you all within maybe 3-4 days. Have a nice one. Thank you for watching.